why did the Pope feel it was necessary to put this out there like that? That's what I always try to figure out, is why is he saying this now? Yeah. And well, what is the purpose of this?
Yeah, Christine, I wonder if it even would have come about, right? I think this whole thing, I think the issue was settled back in 2021 when the documents issued from the Congregation Doctrine of Faith saying that you can't bless sin. We thought this was a done deal, closed, nail in the coffin type of thing. And then what happened earlier this year, this is after Fernandez became the head of the castery, the Doctrine of Faith. There was a dubia that he was presented from Cardinal Burke and Cardinal Sarah and some others, asking questions about certain particular things about where Francis stand on particular issues, and one of them was the blessing of same-sex couples, so to speak. And so they responded to that dubia with words. It wasn't just yes or no. And that was sort of the answer that Cardinal Burke and the others were looking for, yes or no answers, but they responded back in detail. This is what we believe about each item. And so this is all private up until that point. And then Cardinal Burke and the others, they made a mistake. They thinking that they were doing something good, and that they made their dubia public and said that, well, we haven't heard back from Francis and Fernandez how we want to hear back from them in yes or no answers. So then what happens, and I think this is September, Fernandez comes back and saying, hey, you didn't let everybody, you didn't release what we had responded to you the first time. Yes, we didn't respond the second time, but we already responded. And you didn't make that public, that you made your questions public. And so then they released the response to the dubia, and in the dubia, they say this thing about it may be possible to bless gay couples, and Pope Francis has signed that response. And this is very problematic because these dubias, when they're private, they're private. They don't belong to the magisterium. They don't become a universal document of the church. They're just a private response. But by Burke forcing that issue, and I think Fernandez is crafty enough, Pope Francis is crafty enough to know that this is what Burke and the others are going to do because they did this in the past. So maybe they sat and wait for them, but maybe not. But anyway, when that document becomes public, and they say in that response to dubia that this may be possible, then I think what happened was they found reason to broaden out the answer that they submitted in the dubia. And because maybe some sectors of the church said, okay, well, Holy Father and Fernandez, you guys said it's possible. Well, tell us how. And now this is what we see in Fiducia Supplicans. We really see just a broadening out in more details, a fuller explanation of what we saw in the response to the dubia. So I think we really have to question. It's too late now, but I really think Cardinal Burke, as much as we like him, I think he's to blame for this whole thing because he forced their hand on this whole issue. If this whole thing remains private, then there would have been no impetus for them to do this. But Burke created the impetus for this tsunami of a nightmare.